What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in today's video. Now, just a really quick overview of today's workout. So today was day number 3 of the week, which consisted of 5 sets of 3 with 213 kilos, which is roughly around kind of the upper, about 470 odd pounds or something, I believe. And I was to do 5 triples, and they were all meant to be paused. And actually the first rep was a PR, because I've never had this weight in my back before ever, to do a pause rep. So I was pretty happy with that, really happy with the way the reps felt, and also really happy with the way the reps looked, and also happy with how good the pauses were, because I'm quite suspect in the past for kind of being quite quick with the pauses. So that was definitely something I was trying to address today. And then I was to move on to close grip bench press, 4 sets of 4 with 125 kilograms, which is 275 pounds. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about in today's video was the saying, why I wouldn't, I find very stupid. And you can talk about it in any aspect of life, but what we're going to kind of talk about it is weight training, because that's what we all do, whether you do bodybuilding or powerlifting or strongman or so on. And you see people, they get really caught up in certain methods. So let's, for example, just off the top of my head, the conjugate method, okay? So you get someone that does a conjugate method, or you have someone that doesn't do the conjugate method, and you get really caught up in that single method, and they almost dismiss everything else. So they basically say, like, if you don't do the conjugate method, you're not going to make gains, or you're doing it wrong, or it's just not correct, and I'll only ever do the conjugate method, or I'll only do this. And I feel it's quite stupid, because quite frankly, you should be willing to literally do anything as long as it's going to positively impact your performance. And the only way if you're going to know if it's going to positively impact your performance is to give it a go. Hence the whole trial and error thing. And now I'm very aware that if you have done something, or you've done a certain method, or you've done a certain something, and it hasn't gone well, and you actually gave it a good amount of time, like a full training cycle, and it really didn't go well, then you would potentially have the right to say, I am not going to do that, but you have evidence to back it up. If you've never actually done something before, to say you wouldn't do it, I find very stupid. And I really see myself as very open-minded, and I always see myself willing to do anything as long as it's going to positively impact my performance. I mean, for example, I never ever pause squatted, ever. I just did not pause squat. I just didn't ever do them. I never actually programmed them into any of my athletes, programming either, or like I just never ever did them. I never kind of said for people to do them. None of that stuff. Up until about roughly maybe about 33 to 34 weeks ago, and then so pretty much 3/4 of a year ago, I started doing pause squats, and now I'm pretty much pause squatting at least once a week. I have pretty much every single one of my athletes at one point pause squatting in their training cycle at some point for a significant amount of time. And I really feel that pause squats are a very beneficial thing that you should be doing. I really feel that they build a lot of confidence in the hole, so that you get a lot of mental confidence from doing them, of being in the hole, because I feel that a lot of people are very afraid of the hole. They're afraid of going into it, and then because they're afraid of going into it, they don't come out of it very well. It also really helps improve stability in the hole, it helps improve control, and it also really helps improve positioning, because if you're having to pause in the hardest part of the movement, you're going to have to damn well make sure you're in a very optimal positioning. So it's going to improve positioning because of it. So by me being open-minded and willing to try something new, or try something I haven't done before, I then was able to improve both my performance and all my athletes' performances, and hopefully now, if you don't do it, your performance. If you're watching this and you don't do it, try them, and I hope I improve your performance. And that is just really, it's a kind of pet peeve of mine. People say, I won't do this, I won't do that, you've got to do this method, blah, and it's rubbish. Sincerely, it's rubbish. No, I'm not saying that one thing isn't necessarily much more optimal than another thing. There's definitely more optimal ways of going about stuff, but you also have to be willing to try different stuff. It's like, I also never used to train arms. I just didn't train arms. I just didn't ever see the need. But now, up until pretty much a year ago, and then a year ago I started training them, and now I am literally training my biceps 4 times a week. every single week I put a lot of emphasis on training biceps 4 times a week and quite a lot of volume. And I feel that it very, very positively impact my performance on bench press. So that is what I'm kind of want to talk about today. Be willing to definitely try new stuff. Don't just get caught up in one thing. Try stuff out, learn through trial and error, and it will positively impact your performance in every area of life. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, I'll speak to all of you guys next time.